You!
For today's review, we're headed to Eastside Cycle Works in Leavenworth, Washington to test the Transition Regulator CX.
Holy moly!
The Regulator CX is Transition's full power 600 watt-hour eMTB powerhouse.
Oh yeah, that is wonderful.
In this video, we're going to ride on some incredible flow, trails so steep and loose that stopping isn't an option, and rock slabs that will blow your mind.
Crazy!
Will the Regulator stand up to the challenge, or will the full power e-bike weight bog us down?
Oh, that was so sketchy.
For our first ride, we're going to be climbing up to one of the most incredible view rides in Washington State.
All right, today we are riding the Transition Regulator CX in the lower build. Some notable key features are that it has a high and a low mode. In the high mode, which is what we have it now, it's a 64.5 degree head tube angle. It can go to a 64 degree head tube angle. It has a 448 chainstay, which goes to a 450, I believe, in the lower mode. The cockpit, which if you watch any of my videos is something I'm very temperamental about, is actually pretty darn cool. It is a race face handlebar that has a 35mm rise and is already cut down to 780, so I feel right at home on here. And in this lower build, I think it's kind of interesting to note that they went with a Shimano Dior as far as the drivetrain and the brakes go. And I think it's actually a pretty good choice for a lower build because these brakes feel pretty good and it shifts efficiently. The other things, it has a 600 watt-hour battery, it has the Bosch CX motor, and then it has a pretty low-end suspension build. The RockShox Domain, which only has a minimal adjustability, and then a RockShox Super Deluxe in the back. Lastly, this build comes in at 49 pounds, which is 2 pounds heavier than the 47 pounds that you get if you get the higher end model of this bike. We're gonna rip this bike today on some ridge lines, hang out until the end to see what we love and what we really do not like about this bike. Here we go.
For our first ride, we've got narrow ridge lines, steep tech, and a few rock rolls.
Ready?
Yep.
Possibly the hardest thing about this ride is going to be focusing on the bike rather than the views.
Let's go. First ride downhill on this beautiful trail in Leavenworth, Washington. It's a little loose out today.
Ooh, that wind is icy cold.
Oh yeah. How to get warmed up and used to these brakes a little bit. I think they're okay. I mean, I think for a low-end brake, they're pretty darn good.
Look at that view though, holy moly.
It's always nice having a little e-bike power.
Getting used to this bike. How the suspension feels, how the brakes feel. Woo! How loose the trail is, where it wants my weight. The Norco really wanted my weight over the seat. I feel like this is a little more forward biased, which I like. I think that's how I ride my Evil Reckoning.
Oh, I love having a bar that's already cut down to 780. Phew! Woo! A little bit overgrown. Uh-oh! Can the e-bike do it? So nice with an e-bike! Oh my gosh, wonderful. Let's see how this guy does on a pretty steep, loose climb.
Oh yeah, way better than a pedal bike on this section.
Go ahead and up the mode to blue. Oh yeah, this is wonderful.
That's so much better.
What mode did you have it in?
Blue.
Oh, okay. It is windy. And there's some serious overgrown brush.
Yeah, these brakes are whoa, different.
Yeah, that's a little, I'm like, should I trust the e-bike?
No.
Maybe after getting used to it, like if you really get to know it a little better, feels like it might shoot you up over something you don't want to be shot up over. Oh, this is so pretty. So far the bike feels incredibly intuitive. Not actually too much like an e-bike. A lot of the e-bikes I've ridden recently felt pretty heavy and like you have to work hard to keep them where you want. So far, feeling quite comfortable.
Yeah, this Dominion fork definitely feels less squishy and a little more twitchy than I feel like what I'm used to. But the geometry of the bike feels super nice and intuitive.
Oh, she's taking the high line. Oh. I'll follow her.
I'm uncertain. I just really don't like these brakes at all yet. Nice and controlled.
It's very loose. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Holy moly. E-bike. E-bikes are rad. Nice. Phew. Oh, the slab section. All right, rocket. You. Oh, this is so cool.
Woo, that's windy. Woo. Oh, whoa, stay left. So this ridgeline that we're on is Xanadu. We're gonna come down just over on, I think this ridgeline, or that second ridgeline out on the Tres Hombres trail next. So
The bike feels very predictable here, but it would be nice to try the lower mode so we could slack it out and get the front tire a little bit further in front of us and see if that increased the confidence level on these steep slabs.
Woo! Yow! Nice. Phew!
oh, look at all these beautiful wildflowers though. So pretty out here this time of year. Woo! Feels pretty nice getting it in the air. Like I said, I would like the upgraded suspension. I think I can actually tell on this one.
The upgraded suspension gets you moved up to a RockShox Zeb and Super Deluxe Ultimate.
Fun! I mean, it shows that we are not on the trail at all right now. Yeah, let's go back so we're actually on the trail. Power boost back up this little viewpoint. Extra credit ridge Joe took us on. Nose pivot. Oh, nice.
Usually I have a hard time doing nose pivots on full power e-bikes, so this is a great sign.
I just feel like I'm so used to being able to feather my TRPs and like slowly bring on my braking power that when I pull these and it's just, we're on or we're off. These Shimano Dior brakes. And it is not how I am accustomed or how I like to brake.
Holy moly. Branches to the face, lots of them. Ooh, very much exposed right there.
Blue mode! Activate uphill. Oh, we need some tree trimmers.
the cool rock features.
This bike feels really good to jump. And I think that's the end of trail 1. Woo! This way.
We're gonna try putting it in the low position, see how that feels. Down to a 64-degree head tube angle and a little bit longer chainstay.
Our goal is to drain the battery and see what kind of range and elevation we can get out of these bikes, so we're going back up for another big ride.
All right, first ride down, we'll have a couple of mid-ride thoughts for you. First thing is the bike is very intuitive. In a lot of situations, it feels like a non-e-bike. It feels really nice. I like the cockpit. I like the pedaling position. The only time that it felt like an e-bike to me is when I tried to bunny hop it. You could feel the heft there. But the geometry of the bike and the position that it puts you in just makes it feel really light and easy to maneuver. We did shift it on this next ride that we're gonna do into the low position because some of the steeper stuff on the last trail was the only spot that I felt a little uncomfortable on. I could get used to it, but once the speed started picking up and you were going steep, I was like, I kind of want more tire in front of me. So we're gonna see how that feels. But first ride impressions are really good. Climb's good, motor feels good. I would probably like the upgraded suspension a little bit better and upgraded brakes to the TRPs. But if you're looking for the lowest price e-bike build, so far this is feeling really good. Let's go ride.
This trail is actually steeper, looser, and more exposed than the last one we rode.
All right, green mode.
Ready. Whoa. Joe's trying to kill me by moving that big rock.
Never ridden this before. Woo. It's like you don't want to jump off that one, but they're working on it.
Are you ready?
She survived the sketchy plank.
Oh, this wind is gnarly. Looks like we got a steep part. So I am liking this bike a lot in the longer mode for things like this. Emily doesn't like the brakes. It does feel like with these brakes, they're Shimano, so they're on and off a lot more than what we're used to with the TRPs. The thing I like about them is they have a lot of power, but the modulation is not there.
When a brake doesn't have modulation, it makes it very easy to skid and you just have a hard time keeping control in steep situations.
Yeah, it's weird, kinda. Oh, this wind. I really do like the geometry of this bike in the lower mode. Feels good.
Those are close together.
It's nice to have an e-bike. Takes you hardly any time to cruise yourself back on up. All right, let's see what this one looks like.
You! Nice!
Too much speed. I feel like with the e-bike, it's hard to know how much pop you're gonna need to put into it.
What I mean is with the e-bike weight, it's kind of hard to know what the suspension is going to do when you push into it in a jumping situation.
Trying to find a free ride line. Looks like this has been a trail. All right. Phew. Really loose out here. There's a few lines through this. It is pretty steep.
It's actually very steep and I cannot keep my brakes from skidding.
Ooh, yeah. Little drop right there. Maybe hit that next time.
Just don't like these brakes.
Sketchy, huh?
Yeah. I feel like it'd be fine on my brakes.
I could see my front tire like lock, unlock, lock, unlock. I was like, that is not cool.
I can just feel it, and then I can feel the bike going like sideways under me. Cool views.
With some steep and technical situations coming up, it is very nice to be on this bike and feel good about the geometry.
Whew. It's like the shorter stuff is way better for these brakes for me. Yeah. It's the sustained stuff that has a cool jump.
So we rode the YT Decoy SNs recently, and we rode them on some pretty gnarly jump lines. I don't know, those bikes feel a little bit easier to understand as far as like what they're gonna do in the air than this right now. I feel really good about this bike on this downhillish stuff like this. I'm just not confident enough to send it off of a jump like that.
Wow, that's such a cool view.
Whew, that's cool.
Woohoo! Nice little narrow bridge, Skinny, don't look down.
Wow, there's a sketchy line right there. People riding down this?
That's what I'm trying to tell, but it's like super sketchy to walk on.
I just don't love that. There was no consequence on that side. I think that would be fine to ride that, no problem. So sketchy. Ah! Wow. I don't even know about walking this. Whoa! Sketchy.
Would not even ride that on my bike.
No.
Just my brakes. Some jumps if you want to jump into a sand pit with no traction. Oh boy. It looks like there's a wooden ramp.
Holy moly. You're right, there is a wooden ramp, but
That's so sketchy.
I think there's a way over here, but yowza. Crazy.
We thought it'd be a good idea to see what it felt like to lift these 49-pound e-bikes. So we decided to go around the ladder bridge.
Whew. So you come into this so hot down that sketchy line. Wow. So hot. Okay.
That was exciting.
You would be flying through this.
Well, that was super sketchy. I would not have even touched that on my bike.
Man, props to anyone that does that. Crazy.
So sandy and loose, and the sand on that rock was so slippery. It was so off camber.
Navigating that ladder bridge was super sketchy, but it did get us to one of the coolest rock slabs we've ever ridden.
Oh my gosh. This is incredible.
Whoa. That wind just blew me sideways.
Maintaining traction through here is so difficult with the loose dirt on top of the rocks. You're probably thinking it doesn't look steep, so why don't you just let go of the brakes, but it is so steep.
Woo! Yeah, babe, that's awesome. Yeah, I know it's sketchy with the wind. It is incredible though. Look at this. There's a line over there. There's a line right there. Wow. Alright, I should probably get back on my bike since this is still very steep.
Try and not get blown off the bike in the wind.
If one of these little rocks decides to be not attached, it will be not great. The other thing that I didn't mention yet about this bike is that it has the Max Terra tire in the front. That would be really nice to have a Max grip. Max's tire.
The Max Grip compound is just stickier than the Max Terra and gives you more confidence in situations like this.
I'm gonna put these cheap brakes to the test. Bring the wheels down. Wow. Cut back over here into the loose as dirt. And then go through to here. Up over that. Try and control our speed, heels down. Holy moly, what a trail. Wow, oh, I guess we're supposed to go this way. What a trail. Incredible, and this bike was super confidence inspiring on that. Go right.
Hello. Woo!
Like none of this stuff would be that much of an issue, but it's just so loose down there. It's like icy. I mean, it's not ice, obviously, but it's like that. It's like... it just doesn't stop you. And then with having brakes that aren't super modulators. Oh man, this is such a cool trail.
It was way more spicy than I thought it was gonna be.
Quick kind of bummer about these bikes is they put the charging port down here on the non-drive side. So if you're gonna lay your bike over, you have to make sure that it's not sitting on the derailleur when you're charging it, which could make it real easy to bend your derailleur, especially with a heavy bike. Something to think about.
After those 2 rides, we had about 20% battery left, so we put in 30 minutes of charge to try and head down that first trail one more time.
Windy! Yeah, this fork just feels squirrely. I don't know, I just feel so squirrely on it. I got to there. That's good enough for me. I feel like I can definitely tell I like the lower setting better this lap. Like just on some of the little steep bits and wheel pushes, I like having the tire out in front of me a little bit more. On the low setting, it just feels a lot more comfortable and confident. Definitely getting used to the brakes as well. Round 2, still don't love them, but at least I feel like I understand them a little bit more. Woo! Dust bowl! Strava line. Woo! It's dusty. Dusty. And no traction. Woo, woo, woo. Brush guards would be nice on this trail this time of year. Whacked my knuckles a couple times. Oh, I did it. That was so sketchy. Oh my gosh, I was like holding my breath. Oh my God. I'm uncertain on how easy it is for me to pop and lift this bike still. And I just went for it there. Ended up okay, so that's nice. Oh man, that was so fun. I think I definitely noticed that it was slacker and longer, and it just I felt like I trusted the bike more on a lot of that stuff. I still don't like these brakes, but I feel like I understand them a little bit more now. That was super fun. These bikes are awesome. Like, I wouldn't be mad if this was my e-bike. Woo!
All right, finishing up our review of the Transition Regulator CX with the Bosch CX motor. We did 2 rowdy runs. One of them extra rowdy and spicy. And the only features I think that we didn't really get it tested on were the ones that we thought were too sketchy because of cliffs. Holy moly. Or bigger gap jumps.
So we went up for another lap, and it kind of skewed our stats. But we had the batteries down to 30%, and we charged them for about 30 minutes. Our total ride time was 5 hours and 14 minutes. We rode over 24 miles, over 6,000 feet of elevation, and we used modes blue and purple.
I'm gonna start with the positives here, things that I like, and then at the end I'm gonna get into the things that I'm not too sure about, things you should consider before buying one of these bikes. The first thing is, for a lower end build, I think that this is really awesome. And I kind of mentioned it before, but if you're looking for an e-bike that performs really well at a lower price and has components that work really well, I think that this build is awesome. The Dior is actually really easy to get along with the exception of the brakes are Shimano, so they're very on-off. If you're used to SRAM or TRP or Hayes and being able to modulate, it's hard to modulate, but the power is there. And the unfortunate thing is, if you're going down something sketchy and loose, like you saw in the video, the front tire would lock up from time to time, and it was just very hard to get it into a modulation position where you felt safe on super sketchy, steep, loose stuff. The geometry and kinematics of the bike were fantastic. Most of the time, I couldn't tell I was on an e-bike, and is the first full power e-bike that I felt that way. The only time that it came about that it was an e-bike was when I was getting ready to jump and load it, and you could feel the heft coming back up when you were trying to pull or bunny hop it. Oh, and the third time is when I was trying to do a front tire pivot around a corner. You've just really got to give it a lot more front brake and do a lot more pulling with on your pedals. I'm used to just being able to whip that thing around the rear end, and it was much harder, took much more getting used to. But as far as the build spec goes on this, I think that if you're looking for the low end, it's a really good low end setup here. I personally, if I was gonna buy this bike, would go with the higher end version simply for the upgraded adjustability that you get on the suspension and the TRP Evo Pro brakes, which are what I ride regularly and love them. I think they're some of the best brakes on the market. Everything else though, I think is good to go. I really like how you use the flip trip on this bike, and we tried both ways, in the low and the high. The low on the first ride, and the bike was more like nimble and touchy in a good way, like you could maneuver it around a little bit more. And then it was really cool actually that we put it in the low mode for the gnarlier trail that we just rode, and it made the sketchier stuff feel really good. I think this thing will handle just about anything you can throw at it with literally probably 2 minutes to adjust that flip chip. Awesome. Thought it was rad. It's so easy that if I knew the trail I was gonna ride, if I was riding different trails, I would just change that on mellow, flowy, or poppier trail. I would put it in the high, and I would flip it into the low if I was riding some gnarly or steeper stuff. If you're looking for a good looking bike, I think that this one is about the best looking full powered e-bike out there, with the down tube not being too hefty here. It looks just like really nice and uniform with the angles of the whole bike. The paint job is really nice in this matte green color. I do think once you can upgrade to the Bosch digital controller or whatever they're calling it, that would be great, because I know that we ride a bunch of different trails, and not having a percentage right here on the top tube is kind of a bummer. I'm sure that you'll be able to upgrade those shortly. Probably when this video comes out, you'll all will be riding them already. What I do not like about this bike, and would have me thinking twice about whether or not I was gonna buy this bike, the suspension, like I mentioned before, would be worth it for me to upgrade. I'm not super in love with this suspension. It just feels kind of like stiff, and there's not enough adjustments to really get it to where I want it to ideally be. But that being said, if you're just looking to get in the e-bike market, it's definitely rideable. We rode it just very confidently on some gnarly stuff. The weight though is probably the biggest thing for me. At 49 pounds, this build feels most of the time like a regular bike. As the bike that is an e-bike, but I'm probably gonna ride it more than any other bike, I'm gonna want the lightest version possible. Of all of the e-bikes that I've ridden quite a few e-bikes at this point, this would be the bike in the nicer model that I would buy for myself and ride. I think that the 480 reach in the large is really nice. 448, 450 chainstay feels awesome, feels planted. The 64.5 degree head tube angle feels really nice. Feels a lot like a regular bike, even though it is a full power e-bike. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Hope you enjoyed this video. It means a lot if you like it and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day.